How's it going? I hope you're doing well. Today, we're going to be looking at Scarlet and Violet booster boxes, and more specifically, we're going to be looking at Paldea Evolved, Scarlet and Violet Base, Obsidian Flames, and the Paradox Rift. Mainly because these sets continue to go up and not face any price corrections as of right now. They continue to go straight up. We're also going to be looking at the cards in the set to see if they have started to level off. So let's go ahead, everyone, and jump in right into the video. I'm really happy about Scarlet and Violet because I've managed to make a ton of sales so far. I'm going to say that for another video, but I've sold a ton of my positions, mainly Paradox Rift and a lot of Sword and Shield booster boxes, almost like 90% of what I have. And I'm going to say that for another video, but let's talk about Scarlet and Violet. And this is why I get excited about Pokemon investing, because a lot of people don't like Pokemon investing. They only like to collect, and they're really upset right now because of the market and how difficult it is to find products at retail price or even MSRP right now. Nearly impossible, right? But there are still some sets that you can get, and sets that still are continuing to go up. So let's go ahead and check out those sets right now. We're starting off with the Scarlet and Violet base. We could see that we are now, this set, came out. It's been about 2.5 years since this set has finally been out in rotation and continues to be viable for the TCG. I know soon they're gonna, rotate some cards out. And so normally when cards get rotated out, that's when they no longer get reprinted, or even maybe we might have some restocks, but we won't have any more reprints. And so Scarlet and Violet base had a ton of product available from the get-go. This was the first set that came out after Sword and Shield and after the Pokemon boom from COVID and everything, and Pokemon printing a lot of sets just multiple times, from Fusion Strike, Chilling Reign, Battle Styles was, on the Pokemon Center for years, literally for years. And so anyways, right now the booster box is $191, and you could see that it hasn't faced any market corrections, since the past 3 months. In January it was 141, shot all the way up to 189, barely faced a price correction of a few dollars and went back to $191. So currently the market, views this booster box as $190. And it looks like the lowest in the past month has been $181. And so that looks like to be the stable price point, $181 for this booster box. And now it's $191. And mainly because a lot of people realize that this set is probably not going to be reprinted again. And so, we had a lot of illustration rares go up and go crazy these past few months. The Drowsy, for example, has now bottomed out and stabilized at $33. The Gardevoir is down to $47. The Ralts is now a $32 illustration rare. The Curlia is now a $30 illustration rare. And what's really nice about all these price gains and now price corrections for the singles and stabilizations is that now, if people want to collect these cards, they're not crazy expensive anymore. Like a $26 illustration rare, in my opinion, is not a bad price for a cool looking Riolu. The Miriam is $26. When this first came out, Miriam was the most expensive card at like $125. And look at the price now, $26. So just goes to show that, with FOMO, anticipation, and hype can really push these cards up. And then post-release, normally the singles tend to go down in price when there's more singles available, more product is being opened. The only card that has beat that trend was like the Greninja so far in Scarlet and Violet, and maybe a few other cards. The Slowpoke, $22, the Miraidon, $21, and the Koraidon. What's really great about these two cards is that honestly they're really cool legendaries. These cards post-release were also $70 to $100, raw, and then after it was like $100, $150 PSA 10. Once we got the first PSA 10s, I remember I was buying copies for $100. They managed to get to like, I don't know, $200, then they dropped down to $150, and then $100, and then they stayed at $75 to $50 for the longest time. And so now it's $21 for the Miraidon, which is more popular, it seems, than the Koraidon at $15. Personally, I like the Koraidon more, but Miraidon has definitely I've warmed up to the card. Armarouge, $14. Arven, $12. The Fido, $9. The Graveyard, really cool card with a little Ghastly in it, $9. The Great Tusk, $9. I remember when this was a $20 card. You have the Dondozo, $8. The Arcanine, that's just a full art. The Penny, $6. The Wiglet, $6. Let's see if there's any more illustration rares in this set, because this set, is a pretty decent size. You have the Tarantula right here with the Scyther. If you haven't seen it, check out that Scyther in the background. I wish you could see more of it. That would have been cool. And then the Starly, $6. The Kingambit, $5. What else we got? The Mabostiff, $5 right here with Arven. The Iron Treads, $5. The Clauncher, $4. And so the Palmont, $4. So this Scarlet and Violet base set is honestly one of the most popular base sets so far. Now that everyone's over trashing it, it's gotten to be a lot popular now, especially with the Gardevoir line. All right, next we have Paldea Evolved. Look at Paldea Evolved. Ever since it looks like December, it was $140, shot up to $190, then $224, and now it's about a $230 booster box. If we look at the last 6 months, since December, same thing, $145, and now it's $229. And so same thing with this set, we got some restocks of Paldea Evolved a couple times post-release, and then ever since then, we haven't got like a major reprint for this set. We just had a few restocks along the way. And so if we look at the last month, looks like it managed to drop down to $215 for a short period, and then it climbed back up. So it looks like a lot of people saw the $215 price and started buying the booster box back up. And just goes to show Paldea Evolved. I think Paldea Evolved wasn't it included actually? Oh man, I can't remember. I know they announced that Surging Sparks Twilight Masquerade was gonna get some reprints, and that's slowly entering the market, and people are starting to either sell those booster boxes, or the sellers are lowering their price for the booster box itself. So that's good, right? Because those sets are newer. And I believe maybe we did get a little bit of Paldea Evolved, but it was like, I'm thinking what I remember is people with stores online and stuff like that, or YouTubers were talking about that they got maybe like 2 booster boxes or maybe a case, but really it hasn't been a whole lot of Paldea Evolved. So it looks like it's, close to getting out of rotation. We'll have to see how long it takes for that, because this set is about 2 years old now. It's the second set in Scarlet and Violet. Next, we have the Magikarp. We're just going to look at the singles now. Magikarp is right here at $222. The Iono, $65. The Raichu, $49. And normally I do videos where I go more in depth and we look at the charts, but we really want to focus on where the booster boxes, they continue to go up, and where's the price right now for the singles, because I'm sure a lot of you have been, keeping up with the market and looking at some of these singles already. So just a brief highlight of the cards. The Tyranitar, $46. I remember this was shooting up too. All of these cards, all of these illustration rares were getting crazy expensive, like $60, $70. But now it looks like they're stabilizing at the $50 range, these two cards. The Meryl, $32 for that Meryl. Mousehold, $31. People were asking me about this card when I was vending about a month ago. Fuecoco, $27. Chi-Yu, $25. Skeletor, $25. And what's really great about this set is a lot of people are really like this set. A lot of investors are buying this set. They think it's absolutely one of the best sets of the era. Even though it has a ton of new Pokemon in it, there's just so many hits in this set that it's fun to open, and a lot of collectors and a lot of new collectors actually really like this set a lot. Chien-Pao, $21. Baxcalibur, $18. Heracross, $19. Meowscarada, $21. Tinkaton, $15. Ice Cube, $14. Sudowoodo down here, $14. And the Ice Cube, $14. Florigato, $13. Let's see what's on the second page. Yeah, everyone. So, personally, I didn't really go too heavy in Paldea Evolved. I only got one booster box, and then I had a second booster box. And, I got those booster boxes for $98 off of Drip like a year and a half ago. And once they got to $200, I recently sold those two booster boxes in a lot with a lot of my Sword and Shield. Quaquaval $10, Paldea and Tauros. So this set has just so many cards in this set, so much depth and so much value, overall set value. We'll have to do another video on the set value of these cards again. I did go over PSA 10s for all four of these sets. Check them out. Last month I gave you the PSA 10 values, the population reports, and basically where they were at in terms of price. So check out my channel if you're just curious about the PSA 10s for these sets. Next, we have Obsidian Flames right here, still selling high at $212. And, I haven't even mentioned the volume, but the volume for all these sets, you're having like 50 booster boxes of Obsidian Flame being sold every few days. If we look at the last month, this was the overall year, right? Especially with all those spikes. 6 months ago, it's showing, 50 booster boxes being sold at $130. And that's why you're getting those super big jumps in price, because more people are buying the product, and the seller will raise the price. If we look at Paldea Evolved, same thing. We could look at the volume. We could look at the last month. About 5 booster boxes, at least on average, being sold. 3 months ago, it was about 20 to 40 at 1.8. At one point right here, we had, 74 booster boxes right here in February. And that's what also helped jump up the price. And Scarlet and Violet base, same thing, We've had, let's see, the last month, about 5 to 10 booster boxes being sold every few days. If we look at the last 3 months, right here is when it shot up. We had 60 booster boxes on average being sold 3 months ago. And so, people were quick to buy these booster boxes, whether they wanted to open them or whether they wanted to invest in them. And so same thing with Obsidian Flames. We could see 3 months ago. Let's look at the 6 months. Right here in December, it was $130, and then we still had a lot of people buying. 53 booster boxes sold for $188. Right here, 124 booster boxes sold for $190. And the price just continued to go up, with all the demand for this set. And Obsidian Flames, they actually had a lot of restocks for Obsidian Flames, surprisingly. The hit rates were really good in this set. The set is a small set like Stellar Crown, but Stellar Crown hit rates aren't as easy. And, people were like, Scarlet and Violet is trash. The pull rates are too easy. These artworks suck. And so that's why, a lot of this product was just sitting for a long time. And then there were so many restocks because Pokemon was printing a lot of Scarlet and Violet base, Paldea Evolved, and Obsidian Flames, and even Paradox Rift. Once it came to Paradox Rift, Pokemon kind of, realized, okay, maybe the demand's less for Scarlet and Violet. Let's start printing less for the next year. And that's why we're kind of in the predicament we are now, because Pokemon already intentionally started printing less. It takes several months to have all these printers in order. If you believe me, you don't have to believe me, but it's a business, you guys. They have so many all this printing capacity. Whatever you want to call it. Millennium Print Group got bought out, so now there's more print machines. And everyone's upset about all this printing. But Pokemon already intentionally didn't want to print as much because demand wasn't there and people were hating the products. So we are kind of in a predicament right now. Of course, Pokemon's going to end up printing these sets. Not these earlier sets probably, but the newer sets, they're for sure going to at least hopefully, a reprint. Or at least some restocks will end up coming onto the market. Who knows? I don't know. All I know for certain is that Pokemon was going to print less. That's what, we already kind of saw with Temporal Forces. And then Stellar Crown kind of. Surging Sparks for sure. And Twilight Masquerade. But was it that they were printing less? Or was it also that demand just all of a sudden came back? All of a sudden people were looking into Pokemon. And a lot of people said, a lot of investors were saying early on that forget these sets. I'm just going to invest in the last few sets, and that's fine too. So there's so many problems, I know, scalpers and all that, and people going and, all these fist fights and whatever, and it's for the kids, it's a children's game, whatever it is. But when it comes to these earlier sets, they were highly available and the demand was not there. That's my spiel on that. In case you were here and wanted to hear that, that's my spiel on that. But my channel is mainly for collecting and investing, and I like buying stuff, and I do like selling it later over time. Whether I sell it in a year or two, that's a decent time frame for me. I really haven't sold sealed product after 6 months unless it was like Shrouded Fable, buying a ton of Shrouded Fable on a discount because people hated that too. So anyways, Charizard right here, $61. At one point it was $75. The gold card, $20. The Ninetales is down to $18. Pretty nice. The Cleffa is still strong at $17. The Caesar, not bad, $8 for a Caesar card. I still need to get this card. And the print quality, again, on these first four sets, they were not really good. That's why the PSA 10 prices are really expensive. And you can check out my video. Gloom, $9 and $9. Charizard EX, $10. The Pidgeot, $12. This card has stayed $12 forever. Pidgey, $7. The Houndour, $7. This card was going crazy for a minute. Now it's back down to $7. Pidgeotto, $5. Lechonk, $4. Larvitar, $4. Ice Cube, $4. The Reveroom, $3. The Gita, $3. The Palafin, $2. So look, the Belly Bolt, $3. So a lot of awesome artworks, and they're not even expensive, and that's really good. Illustration rares have calmed down lately, and so now more people can afford illustration rares. And so, maybe we're seeing some healthy moves in the market right now. When the market gets too high, it's more expensive for everyone, right? We do need price corrections. We do need those to happen to make the singles more affordable. And not to mention, singles are already highly volatile as an investment to begin with. And that's why sealed product always wins, because there's less sealed product over time as people open these boxes 4 years from now, 5 years from now, 6 years from now. Who knows how expensive these booster boxes can be? They can easily be $400 to $600, $700 once a lot of these get ripped open. Because sealed, is valuable. Okay, next we have Paradox Rift right here. It's at $195. If we look 6 months ago, we start to see a jump in November from $107 up to $149 in January. And then in February, $179, and now we're at $195. And if we look at the last month, we're having about 5 to 10 booster boxes being sold on average. You can see right here in March, there was, booster boxes were being sold, 20 to 30 of booster boxes every few days. And so the price jumped up to $196. And that's kind of where we've been at all throughout March and April, with a few price corrections right here by just a few dollars, And so, there's so much Paradox Rift. A lot of people are probably selling these booster boxes now that they've gone more expensive. Like myself, I recently sold my booster box case. Yes, I sold it. Got it at $600, flipped it for $1,000 later on. And I sold it to a local card shop. And in the future, if I continue to live in the city, maybe that's something I'll do in the future, is every few years I'll stock up and then I'll sell to a card shop that really needs product. But I bet you in a couple years we're going to probably have a Pokemon bear market. But right now, we're in the Pokemon bull market right now as we stand. Groudon, $92. It's down from $100 a few weeks ago. Altaria is also down and at a stable price point at $58. Roaring Moon, $56. Altaria has made some major gains in the past year, and now it looks like it's kind of nice at a decent price of $58. I remember I sold this card for, I want to say, maybe $45 months ago. Garchomp, $33. I remember when this was a $15 card. Minoon, $23. This card saw a nice jump. Goldango, $30. It's been $30 forever. Iron Valiant, sadly, $30. It hasn't managed to get back up to $45 from what I remember in the past. Steelix, $31, really popular. Plusle, $22. Morpeko, I remember I pulled so many of these. I gotta find them. $20. Yveltal, $19. I remember this was a super cheap card. Iron Hands was really playable. Still an $18 card now. The Minor, $16. Parasol Lady, $17. Galizapod, $17. Not too bad. This card used to be stupid cheap. Mantike $16, the Loudred 13, Brute Bonnet 12, Professor Sada $11, Swablu $14, and that Magby $14 right there. Paradox Rift has so many hits in this set, mainly because it is a culmination of 3 Japanese sets all in one. Apon $10, Gimme Ghoul $11, Garbodor, Aegislash. The illustrator is from Zelda, from the game, I believe, or from the artworks of the video game. Snorunt $9, Iron Jugulus $9, Sandy Shocks $9, Mela $10, the Joltik $10. These sets, honestly, these earlier sets, they were hated on for so long, but they got some really great artwork, all of these sets, and they got a ton of hits, in my opinion, honestly. Scarlet and Violet has been really great and really generous to us, and so, let me know what you guys want to see in the next video. This was Scarlet and Violet 1 through 4. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.